Some people say cats are mysterious, that they keep their secrets hidden in the flick of a tail or the stillness of a stare. But what if I told you your cat isn't just a quiet companion? What if they're a messenger, sent with a purpose, chosen for you? You see, back in the 1940s, a man named Edgar Cayce made a strange and beautiful prediction, one that most people ignored for decades. He said that in humanity's darkest hour, when people would feel lost, anxious, and spiritually empty, something extraordinary would happen. Cats would arrive, not just as pets, but as silent protectors of the soul, healers in fur, guides disguised as purring shadows. And maybe that's exactly what your cat is doing right now. Maybe every time they curl beside you when you're low, every time they blink slowly into your eyes, they're not just showing affection, they're speaking to your spirit. So if you've ever felt like your cat appeared at just the right time, or that they somehow know exactly when you need them most, stay with me, because what you're about to discover will change the way you see that little creature watching over you. The year was 1943, while war raged across the world, and humanity faced fear on every front. Edgar Cayce lay in a trance, eyes closed, voice calm, in a quiet room in Virginia Beach. He was known as the Sleeping Prophet, a man whose vision seemed to pierce time itself. People came to him with questions about health, the future, even the soul. But that day, what he saw was different. He spoke of a time far ahead, a time when people would be surrounded by technology, but feel more disconnected than ever before. A time when the human heart would forget how to feel, and the spirit would quietly slip away from daily life, not from war, not from illness, but from forgetting who we truly are. He said that in this time, a gentle force would be sent to guide us back to ourselves, and they would not come as preachers or prophets, but as creatures, with fur and paws and silent eyes, that see more than we do. They would arrive, one by one, in homes, in alleyways, at shelter doors and garden fences, and they would find the people they were meant to protect. They would be cats. Have you ever wondered why your cat suddenly chose your lap on a hard day, or stared into your eyes like they saw something more, something even you couldn't explain? Edgar Cayce believed it wasn't random. He said every cat carries a kind of spiritual frequency, a vibrational signature, and that signature matches one soul, yours. That brings us to something even more beautiful, because this wasn't just mystical talk. Today, scientists are discovering what Cayce seemed to know long ago. Dr. Elizabeth Hartwell, a neurobiologist at Stanford, began noticing something strange with her own cat. He seemed to sense her anxiety before she did, positioning himself on her chest, purring deeply as if trying to calm her heart. Out of curiosity, she began studying cat purrs in her lab, and what she found was astonishing. A cat's purr vibrates at 26 Hz. That number may sound small, but it's powerful. It's the same frequency doctors use in physical therapy to help bones heal, to reduce swelling, to regulate heartbeats. So when your cat curls up beside you and purrs, they're not just being cozy, they're healing you, at a frequency your body and spirit can feel, even if your mind doesn't notice. And this healing, it's not just physical, it's emotional, it's energetic. Dr. Hartwell found that cats can detect changes in your emotional field, before your conscious mind knows something is wrong. That tired sigh you let out at the end of a long day, that ache in your chest you can't explain, your cat feels it, and begins the work of gently realigning you. But let me tell you the most touching part. There are stories all over the world, of cats showing up just when someone needed them most. Not weeks before, not months later, but right on time. There's one I can't forget. Isabella, a therapist from Denver, had just lost her husband. She was struggling silently, too proud to ask for help, too tired to keep pretending. One rainy evening, she heard a weak meow under a parked car. There was a half-blind tabby, shaking, hurt, alone. She rescued him, nursed him back, spent her last savings on his care. And that night, as she sat in silence, trying to hold herself together, he climbed out of his carrier, sat on her lap, and purred. And in that moment, something shifted. It wasn't dramatic. There were no fireworks, but there was warmth, softness, a thread of hope she hadn't felt in weeks. She named him Phoenix, because just like her, he was rising from pain, and together, they began to heal. Tell me something. Have you ever felt like your cat saved you in a quiet way? Like they appeared during a time your heart couldn't fully explain? So, share that moment in the comments, because here in Meowsphere, we believe those stories matter, and someone reading yours might find comfort too. But now, let's go deeper into Cayce's strange and beautiful prophecy. Edgar Cayce believed that cats weren't just companions. They were sentinels, spiritual protectors placed in our homes for a reason. He said they would position themselves with purpose. Not randomly, not out of habit, but with sacred intention. Have you ever noticed your cat sitting on your chest when your heart feels heavy? Or curling near your head during nights filled with worry? They're not just seeking warmth. They're reading you, aligning with you, and offering what you didn't even know you needed. Science is beginning to catch up with this. Quantum physicist Dr. Marcus Chin at MIT discovered something incredible. When his rescue cat began interfering with delicate experiments, he got curious, and what he found was almost beyond belief. He learned that cats and their humans enter what's called entanglement. Their nervous systems sync. Their electromagnetic fields overlap, creating a bond that defies space and logic. It means when your emotions shift, your cat feels it in their body. When you feel fragmented, they become your anchor. Dr. Chen's research revealed that cats don't just respond to your energy. They mirror it, absorb it, and help regulate it, like living tuning forks for your soul. And here's something even more powerful. Sometimes, they take on your pain. That's right. Cats will absorb negative energy from the people they love. Some even get sick when their humans are going through deep emotional pain. They carry what we cannot, so we can begin to breathe again. And they do it without asking for anything in return, except maybe a quiet place to nap, and your presence nearby. Let me share one more story with you. Maria Santos from Sao Paulo had never owned a pet. Her family wasn't interested in animals. But during the final week of her grandmother's life, a calico cat began showing up at their window. She would just sit there, staring quietly into the room, always facing Maria's grandmother. On the day her grandmother passed, the cat appeared inside the house, curled up beside her on the bed, and wouldn't leave until after the funeral. Then, she vanished, just like that. Later, Maria found out that in Brazilian folklore, cats are believed to guide souls safely into the afterlife. And suddenly, everything made sense. That cat hadn't just wandered in. She was sent to keep a soul from feeling alone as it crossed. So the next time your cat stares at a corner of the room, or meows into the silence, don't assume it's just random. They might be perceiving something you can't. Standing watch at a threshold, guarding your home, guarding you. Have you ever seen your cat do something you couldn't explain? Something that made you feel they knew more than they let on? Tell us in the comments, because your story might help someone realize their cat has been speaking in silence too. And that brings us to something even more important. The new generation. Across the world, children are forming bonds with cats that go beyond the physical. They're not just playing. They're communicating in ways science can't fully explain yet. 8-year-old Marcus from Toronto told his mother that his cat Whiskers talks to him. Not out loud, but in pictures, in feelings, in dreams. He said Whiskers showed him his grandfather was coming to visit. 3 days before anyone in the family knew. At first, his mom thought it was imagination. But the timing was too exact, too detailed. And Marcus isn't the only one. 7-year-old Lily from London says her cat Mittens takes her to the star world when she naps. She describes places filled with colors she's never seen. Anne says Mittens protects her from the scary thoughts when they try to come close. Her parents brushed it off, until Lily started describing real astronomical events. Things she couldn't have possibly known. Edgar Cayce predicted this too. He said that as humanity faced a great spiritual forgetting, children would begin remembering, and their feline guides would help them. They would be the quiet teachers, helping kids stay connected to their intuition, their light, their soul. Because children don't need to be convinced that cats are magical. They just know. They feel it in the way their cat sits beside them when they cry, or how they follow them from room to room, like silent protectors with soft paws. These children are the bridge between what we see and what we've forgotten, and their cats are helping them hold that bridge steady. So maybe the reason your cat follows your child, sleeps at the foot of their bed, or watches over them when they're sick, isn't just affection. Maybe it's guardianship. Maybe it's soul work, the kind Cayce said would blossom in a generation ready to remember what love really is. And that brings us back to you, to your cat, to your moment. Because this prophecy isn't just happening in laboratories, or old books, or faraway places. It's happening right now, in your living room. Thank you for staying on this gentle path with me, Paw Prince. Now let's bring it all home, softly, soulfully, where you and your cat live. Look around your home tonight. Where is your cat resting? on your chest, by your feet, at the edge of the hallway watching quietly, wherever they are. They're not just there by chance. Cayce said cats arrive exactly when we need them, drawn by what he called soul magnetism. They find the person whose spirit matches their purpose. And maybe that's why your cat chose you. Out of all the people in the world, they came to you, not because you had the right food or the softest blanket, but because your soul was calling, and they answered. When your cat places their body against your heart, they're not just getting cozy, they're syncing with your energy, balancing what's broken, soothing what hurts. When they stare into the corners of your room, they might not be looking at shadows. They might be watching over something sacred, a threshold, a shift, a presence you don't see but they do. And when they curl up beside you after a long day, they're not just resting. They're reminding you that you're not alone. You never were. Even when life felt too heavy, even when the world stopped making sense, they were there. With fur and silence and purrs that stitched your heart back together. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. To your cat, you already are enough. You are their person, their home, and just maybe, they are your guide, your guardian, your ancient companion wrapped in softness. So tonight, when you pass by their quiet sleeping form, pause, look into their eyes, and whisper thank you, because that love, that knowing, that presence, is the prophecy, unfolding softly, right here, in your lap. Speech balloon, tell us in the comments, what's one thing your cat does that makes you feel deeply seen? That one quirky thing, that quiet gesture, that moment you knew they were more than just a pet. We'd love to share some of your beautiful stories in the next video. Purple heart if this message helped you feel even one step closer to your cat. Like, subscribe, and join the meowsphere family, where every purr has a purpose, and every whisker holds a whisper of love. You're not just a cat parent. You're part of a spiritual story that's still unfolding, one paw print at a time. And your cat, they chose you for a reason.